Hello and welcome to Amethyst Star Crafting. My name is Jane Allmark and I'm a UK independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. And today we're going to do a project with some designer series paper or pattern paper. And this is the Bird Ballad designer series paper, available from Tuesday, and it's absolutely lovely because you have these really sweet birds which you can die cut out, or you can fussy cut out. So you can die cut out some of the larger images, and then the little pieces that are over, you can fussy cut them out, which is lovely. And there are lots and lots of other patterns and things in there. So we've got some, let me sort of show you just a little bit. We've got some florals, we've got some really nice sort of sweet birds, some more sort of florals. These birds are absolutely lovely as well. You just get a piece of that. You can see on those, again, you can fussy cut those ones out, all sorts of different colours which will tone in with everything. And I thought we'd do something with this today. So I have got all the measurements as normal, so you can, as I say, freeze the frame and work with it. But what we need is, we need a piece of 6 inches by 6 inches. So you could actually make 4 out of one sheet. And you are going to score it. I don't know whether you can see on the scoring. You're going to score it at 2 inches. And you're going to score it at 4 inches. Okay, so we need it at 2 inches and at 4 inches. Very easy, simple marks. And we are then just going to fold along those score lines. So as I say, it is a fairly straightforward, simple project, because I like to do straightforward, simple. Okay, so then you have got this, which measures obviously 2 inches by 6 inches in there. All right, now what you need to do then is, there are 2 punches that you need to use. One is the tag topper punch, and you are going to, because it's exactly 2 inches, you feed it through onto the 2 inches right up to the top. Let me just do this one, because I've prepared some of it beforehand, because it is a bit easier to do that. So as I say, you just need to feed that up through and feed it right up until it can't go any further. And then I'm going to have to stand up for this because of my hands, and then literally just press it at the top, and that will give you a nice little tag at the top, which is what we want. So let me just clear those little pieces up, because we don't need those little scraps. Okay, and then with the I've got, this is an inch, you could use half an inch, you could use whatever whatever you've got, but about sort of halfway down you just need to make a little notch like that. Okay, so you've got a notch about halfway down, so that's where the notch is. As I say, you can measure it exactly if you want. I tend to just eyeball things. So that's all we need with the punches. And then you are going to just put those out of the way. You are going to then cut. I'm going to take the one that I've already done, which I've done on one of the other papers. So you can see you have some lovely different styles of pattern paper, so you can sort of mix and match. This one I would do with some of the blue birds. This one I've done with some of the yellow birds. So now we've got this bit done, we need to make a little tag piece which is going to go inside. Now this measures 4 1/4 inches. So this piece measures 4 1/4 inches by 1 3/4 inches. So 4 1/4 by 1 3/4, because it's going to actually go inside, so you want it smaller. And then just a piece of white, whisper white. I've used the heavy cardstock because that's going to give us a little mat. And that is just 1/8 of an inch wider. So you just have a tiny little mat on there. That is actually 4 5/8 by 1 7/8. So as I say, just literally 1/8 of an inch bigger than your 4 1/2 by 1 3/4. As I say, I'll put that there just for a second so you can freeze frame and copy it, although it will be over on my blog if you want to have a look. Okay, let's move that out of the way. Okay, so now with this bit, what I have done on this one, as you can see, is I've just rounded the corners. So I've rounded the corners on the bottom and of this one, so there and there, and I've rounded the corners on both of these two pieces. Okay, so as I say, that's sort of one style of the designer series paper, and this is the one that that I started working with, so I'm going to finish with this one. So we have, at the moment, we have then got this with the tag at the top, that with your little notch out, and then what you're going to do is you are going to take some wet glue, and this piece is going to be glued right the way down. This gives us just a little bit more stability, so just make sure that you've got it round on the edges. So right round in on the edges, round on the where the tag part is, so that doesn't come out, and then just sort of a little bit in the center. I'm running out of my glue here, but hopefully there will be just about enough. There we go. Okay, so then we are just going to fold that piece in and just put that in quite firmly like that. Okay, now this part is going to go across, but we want to have a little tuck pocket in here, which gives you your sort of secret little message thing, because it's a bookmark, but with a bit of a secret message in. So on this, we need to just glue round the top of this one. So right round on the top of there, and then I'm just going to draw a line across on there because I don't want it to come too far down. So literally, so you've just got that piece glued, and then just at the bottom on this piece, make sure I don't get my fingers in it, but you just want to go through just on the bottom, because what you're doing is you're giving a little tiny pocket that you can put the second piece in. Okay, so we've got glue just along the top and just along the bottom, nowhere else. We don't want any glue anywhere else. All right, so then we're just going to glue that together. So this piece obviously needs to be glued, and just this little piece down on the bottom. So again, you can just fold it back, give it a second with wet glue. You can probably do it with tear and tape, but you'd have to use a very tiny weeny piece of it because you don't want it to come too far down, otherwise you won't get anything else. Now you can just sort of seal it down with your bone folder, just like that. But then you have a little pocket in your bookmark that you can put something else in. So let's take the second piece. So these were the pieces that that we'd cut out, which was the this is 4 1/2 by 1 3/4, and this is 1/8 of an inch wider, which is 4 5/8 by 1 7/8. So I've rounded the corners because I think it just looks a little bit prettier. Oh, before we do this, we need a little, now have I got it? I'd cut a little tiny piece. I might have to cut another piece because it might have just fallen out somewhere. We need a little tag on this to be able to pull it out. So let me... I did cut that little tiny piece. You know what it's like with a tiny piece, it just gets itself lost in the where I'd put it. No, can't find it. Let me see if I've got another piece. Bear with me 2 seconds. Here we go. Oops, just found another piece. There we are. Okay, so I did two, one for the other one. So this is the same as the paper. So literally just a tiny little piece of the bottom. Size wise, it's not very big at all. It's literally just a tiny little tag piece, and I might even cut it down. But what you want is for it to go in there as a tag. So I would say that that is, let me have a look on my measurer so I can trimmer, so I can just sort of give you an idea of the size. It is, as I say, it's just a tiny weeny strip, so it's 1 3/4 by 1/4 of an inch. So you don't need anything too big. Fold it in half. Then what you need to do is, and I found the best way to do this is, if we slide this pocket in on here, so we've slid it in where we want it to be, then you are going to put the tag in like this, so you know exactly that it's going to go into the centerpiece. Because otherwise, if you put it in, you might have your tag a bit too far up or a bit too far down. So let's just get a little bit of glue on here, and you need to do it on both sides because obviously the paper is going to come in between. But as I say, you don't need too much. And then we're literally just going to put that in. So work out where I'm going to have it. So it's going to tuck in like that. So make sure that I've got it on the outside of there. And then where I want it on there, which is going to come to there like that. And then just, you can then ease it out. It says me, easing it out carefully. There we go. And then you can obviously line it up so it's straight, and then just put that in. So that just gives you just a little pull tag to be able to get this out. Okay, then we're going to put this piece in over the top, which is our lovely floral piece. And again, I rounded the corners on this one. You can keep them straight. I just thought it looked a little bit prettier to just have the rounded corners on it. So let's just take that in like that. Then this piece is going to go over the top with your 1/8 of an inch little mat on there. Like that. And obviously the little tag piece on here is covered at the front. It's not covered at the back, but as I say, that's really for you to just put your little message in. So it's, if you wanted to cover it, you could cover it with one of the other pieces of patterned paper which didn't have so much on it, or you could just cut another mat on there. I don't mind that sticking out just a little bit on there. So now we need to just do a bit of decoration on here. Now what I've done is, with this designer series paper, as I was turning around and saying, I've just taken, you can see on here, let me get this one out because it's sort of chopped about a bit on here now. But what I've done is, you can see on here, you've got lovely sort of little birds like that on here. So what I do is I would die cut one this sort of size, and then these little ones down here I just fussy cut out to be able to use. So I've done that with two of the yellowy ones because I thought that the yellow would tone in quite well. It could have been any of them, but I just actually like that. Let's put that out of the way. And in fact, yes, you could, says me turning it over. That's the other side of this one. So if you wanted to, you could actually just put a little bit of the pink down on the back. But as I say, I'm quite happy to leave it as it is because I don't think it detracts too much. So what I've done with these is I have just fussy cut them out and then mounted them on two of the new I have to always read them. Stitched Nested Labels dies. I really like these because you can build them up. And I used the that size, which is 1, 2, 3 down on that one, and 1, 2, 3 down on that one for the middle one. So as I say, you know, if you've got them, or when you get them, because the new catalogue is out on Tuesday, so we've only got a day to go and it goes live, you can get these because, as I say, they're very versatile. So I just did them on 2 pieces of Whisper White. So I've got one to go on the inside, and I think I'll have this one with the little bird looking that way on the inside, and I'm going to have this one with the bird looking that way on the outside because I quite like it like that. So on this, I'm just going to glue them straight down. I don't think they need any more dimension or anything on there, and particularly if you're using them as a bookmark, which is what it's intended for, you don't want a huge amount of bulk on there. So I'm just doing it. You could just use one layer, but I quite liked nesting the two of them, the two of the dies together, because I thought it just added a little bit more. But because the background is in Whisper White, I wanted the get that right up to that little notch on there. I wanted it to just sort of tone in, but also just give like just a little bit of height on there. And as I say, I'm going to put this one in the center on here because that just adds a little bit of interest. And I thought it was quite fun to be able to do a little sort of tag piece inside that you could add a little message, because quite often I give these sorts of things as gifts. I you know, or will give them to a friend, or will add them into a card or a project or something like that. So I think it's quite nice sometimes to have a little tuck spot, a little something in there to make your bookmark just a little bit more interesting. So that will then fit quite nicely in on here. We can tuck that right in so that it goes right down to the thing, and obviously you can't see that on the inside. And you then have, as I say, your little message piece inside, which you can just pull straight out, and you can write and put whatever you want on the inside. So as I say, I thought it was quite a nice little project. Now what I'm going to do with mine is, because as you know, if you looked at my video the other day, I made these little notebooks, very simple bookbinding. I will put a link to it down below if you want to see the original one I made. So I made one using this the lovely birds, and these ones I've put blue on there. And this one I did with copy paper, and I just stamped the birds from the Free as a Bird in on the bottom. And I put just a couple of tuck spots in there, and I thought that this would actually look and work quite well inside on the tuck spot like that. So again, if you wanted to put your bookmark in where you were for something, you could do. So that's what I thought on there. Now you can, because I've obviously done this bit on here, you can put a little bit of ribbon or something in there, or whatever you want at the top. I've left it plain because I didn't want to have anything too much on here. But as I say, it fits quite nicely in the front of there. And as I say, that's the little the book journal that I did the other day, just attached with one of the little clips. And I will show you the finished one of the other one, which this is the one that I made, and I did this one with the gold shimmer paint that we had at Christmas because I fancied the gold, and this is one of the other papers that we've got, the Perennial Essence, which I absolutely love. I just embossed my initials on there and just finished it off that way, and again I put a little tuck spot in the front and the back of this one, and I've just put little tags and things in there for now because, as I say, I thought that they would be quite useful. And I use the reverse side of the paper on the inside, which again gives another idea. So I hope you'll have a go at making these. And as I say, the project for today works perfectly inside this one. And as I say, you've got the, just put that little clip back on there. You've got this lovely little bookmark, which has your little tag inside, which you can put your message or put anything you want on the back of there. So as I say, nice little project for today. Hope you'll have a go at making it. Thank you so much for watching me, and do look forward to seeing you again. Bye bye.